Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, you are now tuned into the Investor Show. It's always, this is your gracious host, the Prince of Investing, Prince Dykes, coming to you guys and girls live all the way from the beautiful city and state of Denver, Colorado. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share button. And it's always, I'm glad to be back live, coming to you guys with another awesome show. So as y'all already know, we're in the middle of earnings season. But you know what? Before I get into all of that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and make sure. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. Hit that like, comment, and share button. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, you are now tuned into the Investor Show. As always, this is your gracious host, the Prince of Investing, Prince Dykes, coming to you guys and girls live all the way from the beautiful city and state of Denver, Colorado. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share button if you are catching this live or catching the playback or catching the podcast, anything like that. But today's episode, we are going to go over Google. Google has released their quarterly earnings. Their Q3 earnings came out today. So we're going to take a look at them. They did the big thing. I usually don't do a whole lot of reports on Google. I was kind of waiting on Meta, aka Facebook, but Google today announced that they're doing a 20-to-1 stock split with their stock, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, a 20-to-1 stock split, that means for every one stock, you're not going to have 20 if you already own Google. So, Google stock is over, I think, like $2,300, $2,400, somewhere in that $2,000 range. And now you can divide that by 20, bringing that stock price down to $100. And now we're going to talk about what makes that so important. Why is that so important, ladies and gentlemen? Because you can be added to the Dow Jones. What's so cool about being added to the Dow Jones, S&P 500? Those are the biggest and the major indexes in the world. So the Dow Jones only carries 30 American stocks. The NASDAQ carries 100. S&P 500, you guessed it, they carry 100. So guess what? By having that stock price so low, it now opens up a company like Google to be added to the Dow Jones. So that means every time somebody purchases an index fund, every time somebody purchases a Dow Jones or something that tracks the Dow Jones, they can make money from this. And, it just, of course, their brand is at an all-time high. Well, I won't say all-time high, that brand is super high. But those are big things. Being added to an index like Tesla, more money to the company, more money being brought into the company, coming in from the indexes, and that's, great for them. So let's take a look at their earnings real quick. Let me take a look here. I got the stream pulled up here. Y'all give me 1 second. Where are we at? All right. Nope, I don't want to read that one. I don't want to read the 10Q, not yet. Nope, I want this one right here. Hopefully I got the right one. Yeah, we go. There we go here. Y'all make sure I got the right thing up on here, y'all. 1 second. And let me stretch this out a little bit so it can fill up the entire screen. There we go. Nice and pretty. Okay. All right. So if you guys and girls haven't seen right now, this is the earnings report. Oh, hold on right there. I got my guy Al. Al's in the building. What's going on, Al? Thanks for tuning in this live. So right here, this came out on February 1st, 2022. Alphabet, NASDAQ, Google, right? They're known as Google, GOOG, and GOOGL. Today announced their financial results for the quarter, sorry about that, y'all. Got a little tongue twisted. Let's say that again. Alphabet Incorporated. Alphabet Incorporated is the parent company of Google. Today announces their financial results for the quarter. I don't know why I keep saying I want to say the fourth quarter, for the quarter and the fiscal year ending in December 31st, 2021. The CEO of Google, his name is Sundar, of Google, said our deep investment in AI technology continues to drive our extraordinary growth and helpful experiences for people and businesses across our most important products. Q4 saw an ongoing strong growth in our advertising business, which has helped millions of businesses thrive, find new customers, and a quarterly sales record of Pixar phones, despite supply restraints, and our cloud business continue to grow strongly. So he said here, their cloud business, the sale of their phone, the Pixar phone, I forgot all about that Pixel phone, And then they also said their advertising business, right? The CFO of Google said our fourth quarter revenue of $75 billion, up 32% year over year, reflected a broad-based strength in advertisers spent and strong customer online activity. And so, as well as a substantial ongoing revenue growth from Google Cloud, our investments have helped us drive this growth by delivering the services to people our partners and businesses need, and we continue to invest in long-term opportunities. Q, this is Q4. They're talking about some of their big highlights they had here. They had an increase in revenue year over year. So they're talking about December 31st of last year. They had a 23% growth. Now they have a 32% growth, right? Year in 41%. Look at this growth here. 23, 20 for the quarter, they went from 23% last year to 33% this year. They went from 13% last year to 41% this year. Their operational margin, their income, looking at that margin they had there, it continues to increase, going from 28% to 29% in a quarter and jumping from 23% to 31% for the year. So let's take a little bit further down what they spoke about here. So they're going through their finances, and let's take where they're making all this money from. Where's this money coming from? All right. I think this is in millions. Yes, it is in millions. So they got 31 billion from Google search and others. YouTube ads is their number three. It's like their worst, probably. Look at that. So they have Google searches is their number one revenue stream. Number two is YouTube ads at 6 billion. Then they have Google Network. I don't know how they make money off the Google Network, bringing in their total Google advertising at 46 billion. Then they have the Google Cloud at 3 billion there. Then they have, they had a $2 billion loss, total revenues, 56 billion. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm looking at that's 2020. Let me go over to the next quarter. So they have 75 billion for the total quarter. They made 43 billion in Google search and others. That's the number one. So Google searches is the number one thing. So people, I guess, advertising on Google, you know how you search for something and the top 4 things have ads written on it. So that is Google number one mainstream source of income is Google searches. Number 2 is YouTube ads at 8 billion. Then they have Google Network. I don't know how they make money off of Google Network, what that is. I had to look into that. Bringing their total advertising to $61 billion. Google Other, they have $8 billion there, bringing their total up to Google services at $69 billion. Google Cloud is at $5 billion. Other bets, and they had a loss of 200 million, looks like, bringing their total to 75. Oh, no, they had a gain of 200 million. I'm sorry. Bringing a total of $75 billion. So Google's number one way of making money is through those Google searches, followed by the Google Network, followed by YouTube ads. So YouTube ads a very small percentage of what Google makes their money off of. So here's the segmented results here. Okay. Now this is what I want to get down to. Here's the stock split they spoke about. They said Alphabet today announces that the board of directors have approved and declared a 20-for-1 stock split. The stock split is a form of the one-time special stock dividend on each share of the company Class A, Class B, and Class C share. The stock split is subject to stockholder approval of an amendment to the company's amended and restated certificate of incorporation to increase the number of authorized shares of the Class A, B, and C stock to accommodate the stock split. If the approval is obtained, each of the company's stocks of record as of the close date of July 1st, 2022, the record date, will receive after the close of business on July 15th, 2022, a dividend of 19 additional shares of the same class of stock for each share held by such stockholder as of the record date. So right here, they're saying that Google stock is splitting 20-for-1. I think it's going to bring this stock down to $137 a piece, $137 a piece. So they're saying if you're on record as of July 1st, you will qualify for the stock split, and this stock split is going to take effect on July 15th. So Google stock price you're going to see drop way down. Right now, I think it's at $2,300 some dollars. It's going to drop all the way down to $2,000 and not $2,000, but like $100 something dollars. Now, why is this so major? You seen Google had major Their revenue growth, they have strong revenue growth. The operational margin is increasing. Now, when I say margin, margin is, let's say for prime example, let's say I sell pins, right? This pin costs me $1 to make, and then the dollar to make, to ship, whatever, right? And then I turn around, I sell this pen for $3. So that means I have a $2 margin. That's a little margin in there. So they always look for companies that make large margins. So the higher the margin is, I remember on the Shark Tank. I remember when Famous Amos, shout out to Famous Amos. Famous Amos went into the Shark Tank, and they wasn't too interested in investing in Famous Amos because they felt like, hey, well, Wiley, your profit margins are too small. So the margin is the difference between what the product costs, what some people look at as the net income versus the gross revenue. Gross revenue versus the net income. You know how they say, hey, this is what you gross on your paycheck. This is what you netted. In between, that's the profit that's taken home. Investors look at that because if this is continuing to grow, that's a sign of a good company, right? If that profit margin slowly starts to thin out, then that's not a sign of a great company. I mean, it's a bad company, but it's not a sign of a great company. So you want to see those gross margins kind of spread out more and more. And people love gross margins because that means, let's say somebody brought me a business and say, hey, you want to buy equity in my business. And if you only, for every pen you sell, you only make 10 cents, what can I really get out of that 10 cents? I get 1 penny for every pen you sell. But let's say if your gross profit was $10 per pen and I get 10%. Now I'm getting $1 for every pen you sell. So you can see this by the gross profit, how it changes with an investor, right? Why investors care about that. In companies that have gross profits that's kind of swell, and become bigger and bigger and bigger. Oh my God, y'all can't even see my face down here. I got my face covered up with my banner. But anyway, who needs to see my face anyway? So anyway, as you see those gross profits increase, those are signs of good companies. That's why you see everybody excited about their gross profits. Let me get my face. I didn't even know my face was covered up like that. Sorry about that, y'all. So anyway, that's the first thing that we're going to look at today. Let me go ahead and get that out y'all way so y'all can see. There we go. Let me bring it back now. So there we go. You can see what we were talking about with your particular gross profit. Y'all give me 1 second. Right? My screen over here is acting up. Y'all give me 1 second to get that screen taken care of. Where are we at here? All right, all right, all right. Here we go. There we go. Boom. All right. So there we go. We talked about that, right? So Google itself is announcing a 20-to-1 stock split, making stocks more affordable. Stocks can be added to major indexes. They're talking about Google can possibly replace IBM. That's only hearsay. A couple of sites are kind of writing about that, blogging about that, but that's a sign. So when you see stocks drop like this, remember this happened with Apple. Apple did a 5-to-1 split last year. Tesla did a stock split. Now you're seeing Google do a stock split. So this is a good sign for people to wait until the summertime to go in and buy Google stock. But they had amazing earnings, and it's during these earnings calls why they're so important for you to tune in and listen. This is when they're going to announce out the latest and the greatest on stocks. So as we take a look into this, we see what the corporation is trying to do. Hey, we're making a stock so cheap now, $237, where they're more affordable. They can be added to more mutual funds. They can be added to more, more people can invest. And it puts them into the possibility of maybe being added to the NASDAQ, like a lot of people are saying around the industry. But anyway, let me see what y'all say in the comments before I roll up out of here on these earnings. And let me see. The number one competitor to Google, I won't even put Bing up there. That's Microsoft. Let me look at this. It's not even close. I'll give me 1 second here. Let me see. Google. Give me 1 second. Who is the number one competitor? Nope. Give me 1 second. No, I don't want to see Tesla. I want to see Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google. I hope nobody says Bing, but let's see. Yeah, they're saying Bing, the second largest. Bing is nowhere near even close, which is owned by Microsoft. So I'm not even going to count that. I'm sorry, Bing. Shout out to Bing, though. Here we go. Let's see what y'all say in the comments before I roll up out of here. I have my guy Alan here. Beverly, how you doing, Miss Beverly? I haven't seen you around in a while. How much doing, Miss Beverly? She said, Brother Prince, my friend and her daughter loves Wesley, learns to invest. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. If you haven't, I appreciate that. If you don't know, I've written 3 children's book. Wesley learns to. I wrote 3 children's books on financial literacy. Wesley learns to invest. Wesley learns about credit, and Wesley learns about insurance. Introduce your kids, grandkids, friends' kids, mom's kids, cousin kids, and support your boy on the way with teaching kids financial literacy. Introducing this through books. There are audiobooks. There are audiobooks on Audible, hardcover books, paperback books. There are ebooks. It's cartoons, all that type of stuff like that. You can check them out on Amazon. Where is they on? Anywhere a book is sold, especially online, Barnes and Noble, Amazon. Those are the paper copy. The hardcovers are only offered at one place. That is wesleylearnstoinvest.com. Y'all get that? wesleylearnstoinvest.com. Head over there. Grab and support. They make great gifts to kids, great birthday kids. What's a better way to give a niece, a nephew, a grandchild, a daughter, or whatever, friend's daughter, stepdaughter, whatever, goddaughter, child, son. Best way to give them something is about investing, credit, and insurance. So thank you for that. I'm glad they enjoyed it. Glad they enjoyed it. So Brawler's Occasion over there on Twitch, what's going on, Brawler's Occasion? It said, I guess that's what that is. And Marcus McGee says Amazon. Okay, I think he's talking about Amazon being the number one. No, I don't think Amazon is really the competitor. Google is Amazon is more into the e-commerce space, I would say. Even though they do e-commerce, they got the AWS cloud sourcing. They're close, but I don't know. I don't know if I would compare Google to Amazon. They're just as big, but Amazon is so dominating. Amazon is the internet, right? I mean, let's talk about it. Amazon is the internet, when you look at Amazon, Google searches, people, when they're looking for a product, people search Google. A lot of people search Google before they even search Amazon, or it could be vice versa. But Amazon, people go there when they're trying to buy something, but Google they go to for everything. Directions, they got Google Maps. They're looking for food. I'm looking for a cigarette near me, a cigar, restaurants, all type of things. So if you're a company, you want to definitely be Googleable if you're trying to get yourself out there. I mean, back in the day when I was a kid, when we did book reports and book researches, we went to the library and they taught us how to do a book report where we had to type in the name into the library, find information, go pull up these different books to find out, to verify information. People don't even do none of that stuff no more. Nowadays, somebody like, hey, man, you heard of Prince Dykes? I don't know who that goofy looking guy is. Boom, they go to Google. If I don't pop up on Google, I'm not real. I don't have any credibility to myself or anything. But that's the way the world is now. These kids these days are Googling everything. Adults are Googling everything. Nobody's going to go get an encyclopedia and all of the good stuff like that. So let me see. So Amazon services versus Google services. That's true. I will say that the AWS with the cloud. I will say Amazon has a cloud along with Amazon and Google do have cloud services. I will agree. But you know what? Let's see. I'm gonna see how much money Amazon is going to. That's the only way to do it. Just do the tell of the tapes. So Google earning report came out today, meaning Amazon is probably going to be later on this week or next week if they haven't already came out. And that's the number one way where I can compare the two. But they're kind of in that same space. But as we just saw, what's the number one way that Amazon makes money? Amazon last quarter said they made $45 billion off of Google searches. The number one way they make money is off of Google searches. And their other revenue streams are in the single digits. YouTube ads are in the single digits. What else they had on there? Google Network was in the single digits. So when you look at this, majority of the bulk of the money come from Google search. And who is competing with a Google search? If the Google search went down today, where will we go? What will we do without Google search? Where will we go? That lets me know who's the real competitor. Who would you go to today if you walked in today and they say, oh, no more Google, you can't Google anything? What would you do to find things, or where would you go? I know Google is linked to YouTube. Google owns YouTube. YouTube don't count. You couldn't go to YouTube. You couldn't go to Google. Where would you go to research anything on the internet or your phone? Right? So Marcus says AWS and Google Cloud. Okay, they do compete. Brawless Occasion said Bing. So exactly right. You might be back on AOL search or a Bing search or something like that. So that lets you know that the number one competitor to Google is, in my opinion, by looking at it. What are you basing this off of, Prince? We just went down the quarterly earnings. The number one way Google makes money, the bulk of 45% of 75. What is 45? Let's look at it. 45 is what percentage of 75? 45 times 100 equals, divided by 75, 60. 60% of Google's revenue comes from Google search. Number two is, I think, like $9 billion came in. So let's see. The number two spot was 9 times 100, which is 900, divided by 75. No, I'm sorry. I didn't do that right. 900 divided by 75 is 12. So Google's number one way of making money was 60% of its revenue comes in from Google searches. Number two is 12%. I think that was like Google Networks was number two. So that tells you the bulk of the money comes from Google searches. Who is competing with that? Who is the competitor? And if it is Bing, like we all say, Bing is nowhere near close. I mean, it's crazy how much Google is dominating in that space currently. But if there's a kid in Silicon Valley somewhere that's going to take Google out one day. Brawler's Occasion said a Yahoo search. Oh my God, that's old school. A Yahoo search. Come on now. Now we're stretching. What you gonna do next? Ask Jeeves. You're gonna go to askjeeves.com, AOL.com, and go into the search box, or Ask Jeeves, or what's the other old school way we used to get on the internet and search? But just that's something deep to think about. You know, looking at Google, who is a juggernaut, released their earnings. 60% of their revenue comes from Google searches. Who is competing with that? People are, oh yeah, Bing, Yahoo search. But you think about, we woke up tomorrow without a Google search. How important, how imperative that is. So everybody goes there. That's why you can Google women's fingernails, and you're going to see all these little things. The top three things are going to be ads, and companies pay for that, right? Companies pay for that. I need to be Googleable. People type in your name. First thing people do when they get your business card. Hey, you heard of this guy named Johnny such and such? Johnny Appleseed? You heard of Johnny Appleseed? I never heard of Johnny Appleseed. He's a real estate guy. He's cool. He's great. He's huge. He's doing big things. He wrote books and everything. Oh, really? Somebody Googles Johnny Appleseed. If nothing pops up, oh, that guy's fake. They're going to move on. That's crazy. That's crazy to think about it. Broad Education said, I sure would. Because they sure will use a Yahoo search or Bing. Yeah, you gotta use what you gotta use. But my point is to show you how far the competition is off, right? How far Google is ahead of its competition. But as y'all coming in, y'all hit that like button. Y'all hit that like button. I see we got 14, 15 people in the building. So y'all make sure you hit that like button as y'all coming in. But we just talked about it. We just talked about Google today released. We went over their Q3 earnings report. They're doing a 20-to-1 stock split. As of if you own the stock by July 1st, they're going to do a 20-to-1 stock split, meaning that stock split is going to go all the way down. They released their earnings, and of course, they're dominating like they always dominating. Because guess what? I would rather advertise on Google than I will go to a news station. That's just me. Because that's where everybody's at. That's where the eyeballs at. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children, that is my time. Hopefully you guys and girls took something away from this. And as these earnings continue to roll out, I will be rolling with them. We're looking for Meta tomorrow, aka Facebook, and we're going to go from there. All right. So I hope y'all hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share button. Check out that Wesley Learns book series. Check out the podcast, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you can find us. And into the next video, podcast, cartoon, or whatever else crazy you see me doing around the globe. Y'all already know my name is Prince Dykes. This is the Investor Show. I'm the Prince of Investing. Peace. Be safe. I'm out. And thank you.